Good morning, everybody. This is Judith A. Culp. You're listening to Mad Love. Let's get into it. So, I have the uncanny ability to be wide awake between 1 and 3 in the morning or 1 and 4 in the morning. And now that I don't have to get up, I just lean into it. Usually it involves some form of a hot flash, which at night are called night sweats. And it's so weird because everything is much, much milder than it used to be. I don't have any daytime hot flashes of consequence anymore. But something about being in bed and it's just like hot, hot, hot. And then you have to just get up. And the only thing that makes me sleep through that is when I take a heavy sleep aid like a cold medicine or an allergy pill. And I don't really want to just take those all the time. So the last couple of nights I've been just wide awake at, 12 to 3 or 1 to 4. And then I sleep like a baby. So and I go to bed very early. So I'll get like 4 hours of sleep and then I'm wide awake and then I'm sleepy again and I get the rest of my sleep. That's the garbage being picked up. And thank God for that, because while I was awake the night before last, I think I heard like a rat fight, maybe a squirrel fight. It was definitely some sort of miniature animal fighting another one. And I was like, whoa. But my unit is right above the dumpster and it was totally full, so that's why I was thinking it was a rat fight. But I haven't seen any rats in this neighborhood, but that doesn't mean they're not there. DC was full of rats, and if you were out at the right time, you were gonna see them all. It was crazy. I remember in my dorm freshman year looking down, and in the bushes I was like, what the hell is that? And it was just like rats. But they stayed in their space and mostly didn't bother you, but there would be one or two that would raise up on you. I remember one of my friends, he was like, I was taking my trash out. No, this was my cousin. I was taking my trash out and in between the trash can and his walk to the dumpster was a rat. And the rat was pretty much like, yeah, you think you coming this way? And then one of my friends lived in a dorm, and Howard was built in the 1800s, but it didn't buy, I think it's 1867, but it didn't buy all of the land around it. So the city filled in. So there's a main campus with a couple of dorms, but then you have to walk through neighborhoods. I think they got rid of my dorm, which made me sad. Lucy Diggs Slow Hall, that was cool. It was first floor boys, middle floor split between boys and girls, and the top floor girls. But that's another story. But I really enjoyed living there. I lived there for 2 years. And my friend Derek lived in Sutton Hall, which was like a big dorm across town. Like it looked like a high rise, but that's how it was. Like my dorm was right in the middle of a neighborhood. It was like 6 houses, then Slow Hall, then 6 more houses. And it was like, this is weird, but that's how it was. And they had a shuttle service, very elaborate shuttle service. But I walked because I didn't understand standing there for 10 minutes when I could take a 10-minute walk to my dorm. But Sutton was far, so you had to take a shuttle. And he said one day he left a loaf of bread in his dorm room with the window up, screen down, window up. And he came home and a rat had crawled up the building, ate through the screen, and ate through his whole loaf of bread. They don't eat like us. He just burrowed a hole through the whole center of the bread. And I know it's true because one time when I was living in a house, so Howard has a lottery system. And so the longer you're in school there, the less chances you're going to win the housing lottery. So by, freshman year, you get guaranteed housing. Sophomore year, junior year, senior year, you're in a lottery. Well, by my senior year, I lost the lottery. And I moved into a house with a couple of friends. And, actually, they had been living with, it was three people who had been living in a house. One of them was Paula J. Parker, who is the actress. She was living there and moved out, and I took her room. And one of the people in the house was my freshman year roommate, and the other person was her friend, who I knew, but I wasn't friends with her. So we all moved in together, and I left something in my windowsill. I want to say it was like, I don't know, it wasn't food. I want to say it was medicine. And one day I came home and that thing had just been trashed by some kind of bug. Like bugs were just all in it. And I was like, what the? DC was unique. It was a unique experience. That's why I'm trying to tell people, like, the crime there is horrible. It was. It's much better now. It's much better looking now than when I was a student there, because crack had hit the area hard. There were so many crackheads. And I don't understand why the Democrats just refuse to talk about crime, because a lot of the people who would vote for them live in areas that make them much more susceptible to crime. Although I know realistically crime can happen anywhere, but you play the probabilities. The more low income the area, the higher the crime. And for some reason, a lot of those people vote blue. And I don't know. I don't think either party is all that effective, but I especially don't agree that you should just pretend crime isn't an issue. I think if the Democrats wanted to get serious and get back into a realistic conversation, they would address the issues that affect their constituents, and crime is one of them. And I guarantee you, there's someone who's getting ready to run for something, and they're a Democrat, and they're going to harp on the Democratic talking points of the last 30 years, which is, we just need to get back to good paying jobs and getting good Americans back to work and getting them. It's the same speech over and over again. I got roasted on TikTok a couple years ago, or last year with Kamala Harris. And it was because, first of all, I was deeply into taking care of my mom. And so I really didn't watch the debates. I didn't really know. And then someone was like, you would know if you would go look. They roasted me. So I go and I look at her talking points, and I'm like, yeah, but these are the same talking points that they all have. None of them have addressed any of this. And why you all are so comfortable with it. And I get that you're terrified of Trump, because he actually is talking about doing stuff, and a lot of it we won't agree with. But I'm not saying that I think this candidate is better because I don't like this guy. And if you look at it, it looks like Trump's not even going to make it. And I don't even think he was trying to. I think he wanted to get everything going so they could get J.D. Vance in there. Peter Thiel, Thiel, is the guy who created J.D. Vance. That's not even his name. He turned him into this tech bro politician who's probably some version of MK Ultra, which is basically the Manchurian Candidate, where they brainwash the person to do whatever they want. There's some sinister shit going on in the world. And I just think people need to be aware of it. And it sounds like tinfoil hat territory. I get it. There's a lot of stuff I've said on this podcast. People are like, what? And I get it. Because I've never been that person. But once you pull off your rose-colored glasses and you look at the state of where we are, if you think that there's a politician on either side of the aisle, either red or blue, that's going to help you, you've literally not been paying attention. They throw the political stuff in front of us so we can be distracted and we won't get super mad at what the real problem is, which is why my words aren't coming to me good, but my point was, we won't get mad about the real reasons why everything is shitty. That's what I was trying to say. Which is private equity, these hedge funds, all these businesses have bought up your favorite restaurants, your favorite stores, and, you know, they feast on them for cash and decrease all the value, so you may have loved a certain brand, and that brand got bought up by a private equity fund. And I don't think private equity is all bad, but there are some people who treat everything like it's just a cash opportunity. So they figured out, well, we don't have to use these top-notch ingredients. They're too expensive. We will capitalize on the popularity of this product while making it for much less. People will still continue to eat it. Few people will complain, but they'll still buy it. But by the time they realize it's not the same product, we will have made a ton of money off of it. And they do this over and over and over again. So they're doing that to all your favorite restaurants and stores and brands. And you're over here fighting about, Democrats and Trump stuff. Who cares? The real crimes and the real passion play is happening over here, and you're not even paying attention. Most people don't even notice that, there's a complete dismantling of things going on that, to me, and I'm not a psychic. My nephew thinks I'm psychic. I'm not psychic. I'm just very observant. And you can see it too if you look over there. It feels like there's just this constant erosion and dismantling of what America was at its peak.